Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Hold the Mic. We are your hosts. I'm Ryan Shead. That's Ian Sherman. Brother, how are you doing?
I was good until the green room, man. It's just so much fun in there. I
It
wish you guys
is.
all could join us. It's
I
so
almost hate to
warm.
come out here, you know? And before we get started, I just want to remind everybody.
Imagine if I.
Oh man, something.
Before we
something.
get into anything today,
Anything.
let's
No,
just remind everybody
what up,
that
though?
if the black guy had done any of this, we would be having a much different conversation.
This is some silly ass shit, is all I gotta say. But what
Really,
up, though, man? Welcome to the Wednesday show. If I can even talk, Wednesday
I was
show.
about to say that's not a great start.
Hey, you know what? I might have had a stroke. I don't know. You're just gonna see my lip droop, and it's I look like
Yeah.
Trump
Huh?
now because he looks like a
Yeah.
hot mess. I swear to
Dude.
God, he may have had a stroke. I'm just gonna say.
I mean, he almost stroked out today. His face got so red in the Oval Office, but we'll get to that. But speaking of goofies, I have to take a second to make a quick apology. A lot of you have seen the video. It went mega viral, as it should have, of the Mexican boat, sailboat.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it, but it hit the
The
Brooklyn
naval
Bridge.
ship. Yes.
Naval ship.
Yes.
That's better. Thank you.
Yes.
And at first glance, I did not see the people standing on the masts.
Yeah.
And that really changed the context of those videos for me. And unfortunately, I didn't see that until probably 24 hours after I'd posted the videos. And I had also added the Titanic music to it, which is where it goes bad. If I'd have just shared the videos, it wouldn't have been bad. It was adding the music to it that was not tasteful.
Music is a mother, man. It definitely,
yeah, it
adds
definitely
to the
added some
element.
context. But
It adds
again,
context.
I didn't know that at the time, so I do apologize for the
Yeah.
insensitive post, because it definitely wasn't my intention. Like I said, I didn't realize there were people standing on every level of that mast when it hit, and yeah, really sorry to hear that there was loss of life, and there's still, I believe Ian said there was still like 11 in critical.
22 are right now in the hospital. I believe half of that is critical.
Yeah. So,
It's,
there's still people that aren't out of the woods yet. So
Yeah.
definitely praying for them. And
then a majority of the crew went back. They were transported, flown back. And the part of the conversation between you and I is that I drove by it this morning, and I took some pictures of it and I sent it to you of like, oh man, here's a ship. Like it's just wild to me that I'm just going to work and there it is, And
Yeah.
and the thing is, to give you guys some context, I kayak in the East River, so I've gone literally right in that area, and that current is unforgiving. People disappear, and I actually make the comment to my wife that I wear the safety vest not for me to survive, it's for you to find the dead body, right? It's for you to find it. So it's a bright color, and I'm like, I'm only just wearing this bright ass thing just so you can find me at some point. What up, Buns?
Oh, Buns here. All right.
And so what's tragic about it is, like, I'm right here in Brooklyn, and I go kayaking out there. I go around Governor's Island. I go to Statue of Liberty, so I know the area well. I rode to the Brooklyn Bridge, one of my journeys, and it took me an hour to get there from where I live. Just paddling, just enjoying myself. The current did a lot of the heavy lifting. And what I quickly realized is that I was in a danger zone because I had my feet in the water. I was just kind of looking up, taking in this moment of just kind of just going under the Brooklyn Bridge, like, wow, I made it. A.
Yeah.
And B, it's like, who does this? Like, it was a great feeling. And then out of nowhere, I hear this horn blowing at me, and I like completely snap out of this like this nirvana feeling I had, and pure ecstasy of just like just doing all this work, and it's a massive water taxi coming right at me, putting its thrusters on in reverse and kicking up all this water, creating these 8 to 10 foot swells that now I'm between a ship, its engines in the water, and mind you, I'm in a kayak that you could fall out of. It's not a sit in, it's a sit on top. And then the Brooklyn Bridge, that's maybe 15 feet away. And I'm in these swells, just literally like, do not fall in. If you fall in, it's game over. I already know it. And in that situation, I was like, wow, this current is ridiculous. But then I had to get back home. So that hour trip, I said, I got to get back to my port where I was at. It took me almost 4 hours to get back.
Wow.
Because that I was fighting this current, and I swear to you, when I got out, and mind you, clearly here I survived.
Thank God.
I had to give everything, and my mother and my ancestors, I had to ask for some backup of some juice, because it was the worst feeling of my life. And what I realized is that in those moments where you are really in like life or death, you figure it out. You
Yeah.
figure it out. You're like, okay, I need to do something. What I learned, and for anybody who's going to kayak, you have to zigzag against the current. And so I say all that to say to you that it's ironic that it's at the same exact era, same exact side, Brooklyn side, where this tragedy happened, is where my issue happened. And but when I tell you I look like Popeye when I got out, my wife was not impressed. She hates me. She was more like, "You're late," and I was like, "You have no idea what I just survived." Like,
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like I made it. Baby boy was just like an infant, and I just saw her staring at me from the shore, and I was like, I'm fucked.
Yeah, we're okay. We're okay.
I go, you have no idea there's a dogfight out there.
Yeah.
But anyways, the current is insane. And so to say that to you, the ship, the Mexican naval ship, lost power, and everybody was on the mast, as you said.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but for them to be just standing there going against the bridge and just looking, I'm like,
just watching it happen.
Nobody thought to just jump, do something, or there's no exit strategy that they have. So it's just so tragic.
Yeah.
But that current is unforgiving. So it really is sad. So but on behalf of everybody, Ryan, we all accept your apology.
Well, thank you, sir. I do appreciate that. I try not to be completely insensitive prick. So like I said, that definitely did change the context of the videos, and so just needed to say that. But now that we got that out of the way, I see so many of you in the comment section. So good to see all of you. If you're new to the show, make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel or whatever you're watching us from, because we're live on Twitter, everywhere. So hit that subscribe button. Ian's got some new music that just dropped, so I'm sure he'll tell us about that. Yeah, he'll tell us about that later. But so we're doing big things, you guys, come check us out. I saw some of the Democratic Party talking about we need a Democratic Joe Rogan. We're fucking here, like, yeah.
Right there.
We're even both bald, like.
I mean, I don't do steroids, but hey, each his own. Still got my gonad.
And I'm not 5'2". So
that is a thing. That is a thing.
Sorry. For all you short guys out there, it's okay. Like, I wish I was short. I hate hitting my head on everything.
Well, I just tell you, short guys dream big. That's all.
There you go.
Dream big.
Ian's like 5 foot.
Don't even try.
Okay.
Don't even start.
Okay.
Don't even start.
All right.
Everybody's small next to you. Okay.
That's true. Speaking of small people, let's talk about Donald Trump, shall we?
These segues. Yes.
They're good, aren't they? I think my nickname should be Mr. Segway
They've gotten
or something.
better. They've gotten better.
They have. Thank you.
We have proof, but they've gotten better to this point.
We have proof that they've got. Okay, yeah. Fuck you, first off. Second, that's true. Okay. Yeah. But no, so for those of you who, have jobs and better things to do, we like to condense things for you here on Hold the Mic. And Donald Trump, unfortunately, leaves us with so much content on a daily basis that it is so hard to sift through. I mean, you should honestly subscribe to the podcast for that reason alone.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it's like we're doing the dirty work for you. You know what I'm saying?
By all means, come fact check us. Come here in the comments and let us know what you really think.
I'm telling you. So I want to start with, I've got a couple of videos. I want to show the one that really starts it all, which I believe is this one. Oh, man. So for those of you who haven't heard, Donald Trump had the president of South Africa visiting today. And yeah, it was about as big of a circus and shit show as you could possibly have. Donald Trump goes off, starts calling reporters names, starts talking about things that didn't have anything to do with it, but literally ambushing the president of South Africa with videos that he doesn't even have the correct context to. This is just insane. So let's have a listen.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who's killed.
All right, I'm sorry. Just real quick, can we just? I just have to point out, because I'm not going to show you the full meeting because there's several parts to it. But one of the people that is from the South Africa delegate literally comes forward and says that was a memorial, and it wasn't just for white farmers. Like it wasn't just for white people.
Right. But
Like,
I'm actually looking at the body language of the South African president, where
oh,
he's
dude,
literally like, he's like
he literally laughs in his face. He literally laughs in his face.
He looked at him and he was like, "Is this really happening right now? Are you really? This is what you're doing?"
Yep.
Okay.
It's
All right.
crazy.
And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses.
Oh, somebody help me. It's the fact.
Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is. This I've never seen.
Do you know where that is? Because I don't. Oh, you don't either?
That's in South Africa.
Look how red his face is. You can see how red look at his head, on the top of his head where his hair's all gone. Like his face is so red because he realizes this is not going well for him.
He's like, "What the hell is this?"
And then he starts like going off of like he has like sheets of paper, and he starts like listing off all these different people that supposed white farmers that have died. My thing is like, you're talking about all these white farmers in South Africa, and I'm going to debunk this whole thing here in a second.
Yeah.
But what about all the Americans that have lost their lives? What about all the people from COVID? I think we lost more people from COVID than they have white farmers in South Africa. I'll bet you quite a bit of money.
Yeah. Where did those white Africans come from to South Africa?
I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. I saw the motherfuckers getting off the plane, and ain't not one of them motherfuckers missed a meal. I can tell you that.
They didn't look like they were struggling.
They didn't look like they were struggling for shit.
Did
nice
you see the
clothes
gentleman
on, full luggage packs? Like they didn't come in here with fucking garbage bags over their shoulders saying thank you, praise Jesus for taking us.
Did you see that they are actually complaining about the that they had it better in South Africa than they do here now?
No,
already within 1 week. Within 1 week, they're complaining like that.
Can we go back? Yeah, we'll send you back.
Yeah,
I got
one guy said that
we use taxpayer dollars to get you here. We'll send you back with taxpayer dollars.
Oh my God. It's bad. Well, this right here to me, when you think of like why, and someone Debo just said, why would South African president even come over here? It comes with a job. Like that's your job. You gotta
build relationships.
World leaders. You gotta communicate. We gotta keep the handshake going.
Yep.
On a world, even though we're America first, even though I don't know what that really means right now.
And
with
a
the way
global
things are going.
economy. We're a global economy.
We're more intertwined than we want to admit.
Than most Americans want to admit, yeah.
You know what I mean? That and also some may pretend to want to be, pro-America and buy American goods, but when that sticker price hits you, they quickly run to made in China, made in, Pakistan. They run to those labels. So
for sure.
There's a plumber who actually did a test, and he started showcasing a couple items that were made in America, and he saw that nobody wanted to buy any of that, and it's like, okay, no one wants to buy American. Like they clearly want to buy the Chinese stuff. But to this point, this would be the same equivalence if the South African president showed, KKK videos or Elon Musk saluting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then saying like, this is your government, this is your country, this is how bad it is, and Trump having to own that. You know what I mean? Or showing January 6th and saying, this is your country. Like, this is how you treat your officers. And it's like, when you're sitting there, you're like, what was this meeting even supposed to be about before it got hijacked with whatever this bullshit was?
Well, that's a great question. And another one of the clips might give us a little bit more context. So as we're going to talk about here in a few, the Department of Defense has officially received the 747 from Qatar. And during this shit show of a meeting, this is what the South African president had to say in response to Trump.
We need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One. It's being built. 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But
So there's the president of the United States admitting that he is indeed for sale, that he'll take whatever you got.
Yo, first and foremost, though, black people are funny.
Bro, like he's and
I'm
the,
sorry,
all the
I
white
don't
people
have a
aren't catching.
plane.
Maybe it's because I'm married to a black
you.
woman. Maybe it's because I have black friends like you that I understand that shade being thrown.
Yo,
It's like and all the people that are like, oh, this was so great. Trump showed he was such a dude. He
no,
made
my
him
bad,
look
my
like
bad,
a
I
dumb
love that.
fuck
He definitely. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give
to give you to smooth things over.
All I can think of is, as you know, and I'm sorry to say this, but Coming to America, like just thinking of like the turning of the knife. It's like, I'm sorry, and that's just my own ignorance. Don't worry about me, guys. I grew up with Eddie Murphy.
My Lord.
Yeah,
Like,
that's actually hilarious.
and by the way, you see how he's talking to reporters now
Yeah,
that ask him questions he doesn't like. And these are the same people that come with their moral high ground to me and say that I shouldn't say the things that I say and I shouldn't talk about the president like that and I should respect the presidency. I should respect the office. Right. To that, I will say, fuck you. Until we get somebody in there worth respecting, the office ain't worth a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, that was definitely. I mean, it just shows you that this is. We'll get into that new segment that we discussed, but this is the part where you're looking at it like this is a convict in the hot seat, and he's just showing that literally he deserves to be in jail, not in the White House.
Yeah. So, and since we're talking about it, I want to show just some more of the video just so people can see what this dude's response was. And you'll notice that we're using Newsmax videos too, so you can't say that we're using, propaganda that you all don't like. You MAGA folks out there. I really think this is important because it really does show the current state of international relations that we have, not just with allies, but every country right now. And also to see what the president of the United States is willing to do for a gotcha moment, for clicks, for red meat for his base. It's like, you don't think the Golden Dome was enough? You gotta do this. And more importantly, how do you think that these world leaders are going to treat you now? How are they going to treat Americans?
They are already talking behind his back, and they are already making their alliance. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot that's happening that's like without him. And to see that Zelensky was with the Pope, like the very first person to visit the Pope, the new Pope, I should say, Pope Leo. It's quite interesting to see how things are kind of moving without us. And we're getting left behind. Like there's no way around it. We're getting left behind.
Yep. No, that's very true. And I think that with everything going on, that this new Pope is coming in at a very interesting time, and allowing the vice president to come back, again, and kind of make an ass out of himself, in my opinion. But anyway, it's just.
Well, he didn't kill this Pope, so that's a win.
Thank God. But that's literally the first thing I thought. I was like, did they not?
They stepped up security.
Or did they at least test this dude before he went in? Test him for viruses, bombs, anything.
You can sit on that couch. That's where you can sit. Thanks, JD.
So it's just really interesting that we're sitting here on our moral, high horse here, trying to scoff our nose at countries like South Africa, and particularly when we don't really have all the information. And I think that's what the president is trying to say here with his response. And then before we move on, I'm going to debunk the hell out of this, and then we'll press on to the next thing. But again, I think it's worth hearing
from the
President Cyril's response.
What would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's, for him, no, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me,
Thank you, Mr. President.
it will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the around the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you.
Can you put
Johan?
Look at his face, like.
With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. Yeah. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. How can we drop our membership from this useless parliament?
Like, you just asked the question a minute ago. How is this America first? Why are we even talking about this? Like, this is their legislating. This is their.
No. This would be, again, same equivalence of taking a Dave Duke video of him, especially running for a policy, running on something, and then holding that to the light of what the Constitution is, right? Yep. This is the same equivalence, and when you're really kind of taking that in, all I'm realizing is that Trump does not like an off ramp. He literally answered perfectly about, like, yes, Trump just has to listen to other voices, maybe not mine, but other voices. Yeah, that could have been a great moment. The people. You know what I mean? The people, listen to the people's voices. That was an off ramp where Trump could have been like, you know what? I would love to listen to some of the people of your country to see what's really going on. He can't do it.
Nope.
As a true narcissist, he goes, no, wait.
I got to stick to the script.
I am doubling down on my ignorance. And you know what? Good for him. Show the world how stupid you are. Because you look stupid. Jesus. Turn on the lights, play the video. Okay.
In the Oval Office.
So a random person can come for your little presentation? Like, what are we going to do here?
And then Marco Rubio had a comment.
But I'm going to ask you, so a well-justified fear of persecution?
Yeah, they thought that their farms were being burned down and they would be killed. I think that's a pretty good justification for wanting to come. They're afraid for their lives.
And should it be applied in an even-handed way? That's an easy.
No, our foreign policy doesn't require even-handedness. It requires prioritizing the interests of the United States.
The phrase says you are entitled to entrance as a refugee if you demonstrate a well-justified fear of persecution.
No, you're not entitled.
So
you're
can
allowed.
You have a different standard based upon the color of somebody's skin? Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'm not the one arguing that. Apparently you are, because you don't like the fact that they're white, and that's why they're coming.
I'm just asking you to say that would be unacceptable.
Well, no, I would say that the United States,
a very easy thing to say.
The United States has a right to pick and choose who they allow into the United States.
Even based on the color of somebody's skin.
You're the one that's talking about the color of their skin, not me. These are people whose farms were being burned down and they were killed because of the color of their skin.
Well,
You've demonstrated enough because you think anyone should be allowed into this country for any reason because they met a certain criteria.
Who has said that?
We are going to prioritize people that come into our country on the basis of what's in the interest of this country. That's a small number of people that are coming.
But you said this weekend that there would be more.
But in other cases, it's harder to vet. In other cases, it's more difficult. And by the way, the United States admits people every year.
So,
real quick to what you said, Ryan, you've touched on this before. How many of our Kurd brothers that helped us in war were just turned away, who actually were vetted, like went through the whole process and were given the green light?
Not just the Kurds, but the Afghanistan refugees.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've abandoned our allies quite a few times under Trump. And this is just another example.
But everything he just said thrown out the window because you're talking about a vetted process and everything has been like green checked and now it's just picking a day to fly in and they got bumped for this.
Yes.
To just be given, weren't they given green cards also? Everything like they're official, like that's it.
They were supposed to be, yeah.
No, I'm talking about these the South Africans that just came.
That part I'm not sure about, to be honest with you.
That's wild.
Maybe somebody in the comments can tell us if they had the green cards.
Fact check us, guys. Are they now officially American? Are they now in?
Here's my interesting thing listening to Marco Rubio there is that, he says it's not about race, but they're lying about what is actually happening to justify their agenda.
Yeah.
And what I love about AI, and particularly I'm going to even say Elon Musk's Grok, is that if you ask it particular questions, it will give you an answer. And the most beautiful part is that it's the MAGA people that usually ask Grok to fact check me. And 95% of the time, Grok says, I'm right, which people that watch this show wouldn't be surprised by that, but MAGA usually is. So they asked Grok about the percentage because Trump and Musk are throwing around percentages about how many farmers are white and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So the claim that white South Africans are 7% of the population, but only 1.8% of murder victims appears accurate based on 2022 census data and crime studies. So the thing was they were trying to say that the original poster, Brian, that his post was incorrect. Because here he is. Oh, yeah. This is the video of Trump showing all the horrible death.
Show and tell?
Yeah. Horrible death.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. So somebody said, Grok, is this true? Because Brian fact-checked him. White people make up 7.3% of South Africa's population, but they account for just 1.8% of all murder victims. So the MAGA didn't like that, and Grok responded.
Can you mute him?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So now say that again?
So as you can see, Brian fact-checked him. White people make up 7.3% of South Africa's population, but they account for just 1.8% of all murder victims. That means black South Africans are far more likely to be murdered than whites by a wide margin. The data proves it. So if you go down here, the MAGA don't like that, and they ask if it's true. Grok says, yes, that data is actually true. Black South Africans face higher murder rates tied to socioeconomic factors, not race. Trump's genocide claims lack evidence as farm attacks, while serious, affect all races and are less than 1% of murders.
Grok better chill out. He's about to get unplugged by Elon.
He's about to get fired.
He's about to get unplugged, boy.
All you got to do is go to Texas and turn a couple of them turbo fans that he's not supposed to be running off.
Man, I'm telling you, they're going to put the squeeze on him. I've seen it. Age of Ultron, man. Avengers showed us what happens. They gonna burn him out.
So, yeah, this is just, it's insane.
I mean, but it's more whitewashing. I mean, that's
for sure.
It's just, this is seriously, white fragility is literally front and center. Yep. There's no way around it. When you're looking at this whole game, how they're trying to weaponize DEI, how they're trying to, like with Ron DeSantis, especially with this anti-woke movement, which he realized that that's no longer really sustainable. So now he's kind of changed his positioning on it.
Yeah.
You just see this whitewashing that's taking place. I also just saw in the Wall Street Journal that, the first lady,
oh Lord,
that woman, sitting there, be best. That's my favorite, be best. Her sitting there, but with kids with Gulf of America hats on. And I'm like, you talk about indoctrination. This is indoctrinating.
Oh, for sure.
You guys are really putting ignorance on full display. And you know what? History books are going to look at this.
Which is why they want to get rid of PBS, because PBS keeps fact checking them.
Shout out to Netflix for picking up Sesame Street. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that people got to pay for it now, and I hope they figure out a way to do something free or whatever, or maybe this is their tax write-off.
It's kind of like when Apple picked up Peanuts, all, and everybody was like, oh, so now we're not going to get to see, Charlie and the pumpkin patch and shit.
Nope.
And they started making it. They're like, no, we're going to make it so you can stream that free. So I think if enough people,
Yeah.
you know,
It's just something I hope that
yeah,
it's
I think
still giving
Netflix will
back to the
hopefully
people.
figure it out.
Yeah. And
'Cause,
Stephanie had a good comment, by the way. She was talking about, like, nobody, or Trump only listens to the people he wants to listen to.
yeah,
And I had to push back, Stephanie. Trump listens to the people who grease his hand.
yep.
Okay. That's why my man said, sorry, I don't have a jet to give you.
Oh, nice.
Like
It's
he
still going to
listens
be aired
to.
for free.
There he is. Thank you, Stephanie. So coming in with
Good.
receipts. And that's one of the biggest things is, like, it's Trump's going to listen to people who grease his hand. The last person out the room and who's, greasing his hand is who he's going to be listening to, which is why it's really interesting what he did in the Middle East, this most recent trip. So,
well, and on top of that, I just want to say one thing, because it's not on our outline. The fact that Donald Trump got this mineral deal with Ukraine, and now all of a sudden he's just throwing his hands up and saying it's between them.
I can't negotiate. There's no art of the deal on this one. I can't do it.
So you get what you wanted from this guy, which is the whole point of the mineral deal was to help pay back, some of the support that we are sending. And now that you've got that deal, the answer is, oh, well, you guys are on your own.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you follow Trump, that shouldn't surprise you in the least, because that's how he does business. Like, contractors, I'm gonna sign the contract. You're gonna come do the work, and then I'm gonna fuck you afterwards.
But
that's literally Donald Trump's business deal.
I'm interested to see if there's any clause in there that if they don't get support, that the deal falls apart. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be some type of safety mechanism. I would hope a good negotiator would put in there that there would be some type of a threshold that if the help is not met. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, and look, when you're in a situation like Zelensky, I'm sure you're trying to make a deal just to get any type of support. Or
I was surprised he did the deal to begin with, but yeah.
He's listening to all the other world leaders. They're like, look, make a deal with him, blah, blah, blah. Wait until his administration goes away. The other president will, will cut it. Yeah, because that's a reality. Anybody can do whatever they want whenever they want.
Yeah.
That's all this is just bullshit for the time being. And it's just like, okay, well, what's stopping the next administration as that pendulum swing? AOC comes in and she's like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and just switch that up real quick.
Yep.
Who's to say,
And a few more things to just get off. Congressman Jerry Conley passed away today. I believe he was 75. Yeah, I don't have any other details other than that.
Throat cancer, and he stepped down a couple months ago. Not even.
Oh, was it?
Change, and being the number one seat to challenge the majority. And I don't know why he was ever put in that position. I guess this is, and you have a lot to talk about this, but that whole mentality of wait your turn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's up there in their 70s and 80s. What are we waiting for?
Well, that's Anthony asked that question too. Third Democrat representative passed away while in office. Do you think it's time for term limits? I definitely think it's time for both term limits, and I would even wager to say that we might even need to put age limits on it. Like, maybe 70 is too old to be doing this.
I think that's the cap. I think you hit 70. Congratulations, thank you. You've done it. Good job. Get into consulting.
Now you're a mentor. Time to bring up the next. Yeah, and I think that's what we're missing. By the way, is the mentorship and the bringing actual good leaders up, and not just the ass kissers.
Right. And to me, it's like nobody wants to be Gandalf the Grey. You know what I mean? No one wants to be that wise sage that's just like handing down, like, this is your adventure. You take that ring and you run with it.
I feel like Obama's like the closest we've got to that right now.
Between him and Al Gore.
Yeah.
Al Gore's like, I don't want it. I've done this dance. I don't want it, but we need to find the candidates that are going to fight. And I'm just like, Al Gore, talk to your girl Jasmine Crockett. Like, give her the things she needs to know how to succeed. Let's see that Rocky Creed element. You know what I mean? Where it's just this older champion who's like, let me show you how to box. Let's go. Let's do this. It's time for new blood.
Good question, Bunny. Bunny had a question. If Russia takes Ukraine, would Putin respect and follow through with the mineral deal?
Can I add something to that?
Please.
The day that Donald Trump was elected president, Russia and all of their television news networks posted nude photos of Melania Trump. All of her nude modeling, we call it modeling or whatever, Just showing her kitty cat in the back of a car is not really modeling, but whatever. But they posted it all over their network to congratulate Donald Trump. Putin does not respect Donald Trump at all.
No.
First and foremost. And
Not even a little bit.
if you think for 1 second that he's going to do any deal, we're talking about the three, think of it like a mob hit, the three houses, America, China, Russia, superpowers, and they're going to sit at the table and talk about who's cutting what deal with who.
Yeah.
And maybe this is why Trump is trying to do his move in the Middle East, where he's trying to get his hands on Gaza because he needs to set up shop out there because he knows that he's losing ground with everybody else.
I mean, makes
Take it
sense
away,
from where
Ryan.
I'm sitting.
Take it away.
Again, it's just kind of crazy what we're seeing. I definitely agree. I don't think Putin would honor any deal that was made with, the former government of the country.
I wasn't there.
Of the country he just took. Yeah. I have zero faith in that. Now, I will say this. I do have faith in Putin giving crumbs, to Trump and the Republican Party.
Only if he begs for it.
Yeah, exactly. Making a new deal, and of course, allowing Trump to spin it as some kind of win for him and us. But yeah, no, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Expect Trump Hotel in Crimea. That's that's the telltale that you're gonna get. You know what I mean? Some little ringy dink.
Gaza and Crimea soon, coming soon. With that, I want to talk a little bit about the Supreme Court and some of the things that have been going through the halls there.
I hear they're doing great things these days.
Yeah. They give liberals a couple of scraps, and then they really fuck us.
Pull the rug underneath.
Yeah. But
would you
like
a glass of water?
Didn't I say let's wait and see a few weeks and see what comes?
Brother man, they literally are the villain of Silence of the Lamb. You know what I mean? They're talking about putting the lotion in the basket. That's who the Supreme Court is now. Okay. They have their little white dog and they're telling us put the lotion in the basket. This is how it feels right now to be a liberal in America.
Well, I'm telling you. So the Trump administration has officially asked the Supreme Court to block disclosure in a Freedom of Information Act request over Musk's Doge. The Trump administration wants the Supreme Court to intervene in its fight to prevent Doge from being subject to open record laws. In an emergency request filed on May 21st, the Justice Department asked to pause judicial orders requiring Doge to produce documents and testimony so a federal court can determine whether the Department of Government Efficiency started by Elon Musk must comply with the Freedom of Information Act. The administration argues Doge is a presidential advisory body, so it is exempt from the nation's premier public disclosure law. Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, a watchdog group, is suing Doge, arguing it's provided no meaningful transparency into its operations or assurances that it's maintaining proper records. The group wants to learn more about Doge's role in Trump's efforts to dramatically downsize and reshape the federal government. Now more than ever, Americans deserve transparency in their government, Donald Sherman, Crew's executive director and chief counsel, said. So, what do you think about that, brother?
You take that in consideration, and then you take in on top of that they just fired the head of the Library of Congress.
And she was
a black woman.
Thank you.
Who was the longest running director.
Yep.
And what
was the reason they gave?
Because she was promoting wokeness and DEI, and that they were allowing children to check out books. This is your girl Caroline Levitt, whatever.
Levitt, yeah.
Her. Another blonde butch, whatever. Yeah. One of those.
I can always pronounce the white women's names right. Go figure.
It's a curse.
It is.
I'm gonna have to introduce
the ancestors have cursed me.
But what's interesting about her making that comment about releasing books about gender or woke ideology or anything is that the Library of Congress doesn't rent out books to people. It is literally a storage of any copyrighted information that has ever been released, and it's archiving its records. So yes, anything that is written, period, that has a copyright will be in the Library of Congress. That's how it works. So when you look at that, and then you look at who he's trying to put in the hot seat, or excuse me, in the director's seat, they're trying to control certain things, information, and this is just the start, guys. This is where it's like, start connecting those dots. Really start connecting those dots.
Yeah.
And the fact that they would be so callous and say the dumbest shit, like we can't fact check at all.
Right.
This I mean, Levitt is, or whatever her name is. She's good at. She sits there and just spews her idiocracy is what I'm just gonna call all this.
Oh yeah.
She just vomits her idiocracy. And how many people really do eat it up?
She's
and
so
like,
confident with it. Like that's what delivers it.
I honestly sit there and I just think to myself, she's that little girl who's crying at her birthday party, and it's that song, it's my party, I can cry if I want to. That's what every time I hear her speak, that's the only thing I think of.
Yeah. So let's move on to our shady ass government and what they're trying to do. So Congress is set to vote on Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, I believe, tonight, which will technically be Thursday morning at 1 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Is when they're supposed to supposedly vote on this bill. Whether it's going to happen or not, we'll see, because we do have some video of some representatives coming out and saying they're not going to vote for it because it doesn't really do what they say it's going to do.
Right. And you and I've gone back and forth offline where it's like, are they more cuts or are they less cuts? And it's like, that's the issue with the Republican Party. They really are on opposite sides of this because they have constituents that are either in purple states, and they also realize that this is about to completely destroy their own constituents.
Yeah.
They know it. The writing's on the wall.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, just listen here.
My concern about the deficit and the debt is tremendous. This bill in its entirety, the way it was written, we would go from 36 trillion now in debt to 56 trillion minimum if this bill goes through the way it is written, with no fraud, waste, and abuse taken out of Medicaid. We would own Obamacare, not repeal it.
Currently, the bill spends more money than the status quo. I mean, so it doesn't actually help deficits; it actually hurts the deficits.
If the speaker brings us to the floor tonight,
I think the bill's going to have problems.
My concern about the deficit
and like Ian said, the issue here is that they want more cuts.
Yeah.
Like they're literally not happy with the cuts to Medicaid. They want more. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to give everybody this magical bullshit of, we're going to stop taxing you on everything. And, oh, by the way, tariffs are going to pay for it all. Oh, but tariffs aren't going to pay for it all because they have to pass this big, beautiful bill fucking all over all the middle and low income Americans.
I want every American to go look in the mirror that makes less than $250,000 a year. Go look in the mirror. That's who they're fucking over.
Yep.
Period.
I mean, dude, they're going to come take our pensions soon. The military pensions, they're going to start taking those soon.
Yeah.
They're going to.
And then we're going to have to work till 70.
Oh, that's the whole, and that really is, in my opinion, that's what they want. They want us working. If you're not out working in one of their slave shops, then what are you doing? And we were talking about this on the phone this morning. I was telling you about when I was a federal contractor and learning about the contracts. And this goes, and as I tell you this story, I want you to think about the $175, billion that Donald Trump just said that we're going to spend. And that's just to start with, by the way, on the Golden Dome to protect us from Mexico, I guess.
He said China and Russia, which is interesting in his display. And China's pissed. China's like, yo, you're starting to flirt with danger here now.
Yep. So on top of that, what this does is it's going to enrich all of the contractors that are going to be involved with this in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Now, the last job I had, I was an engineer tech for the Navy, and I was part of the team that oversaw all the maintenance on basically all the ships that ported in Norfolk for any kind of time. which was quite a few ships. I think at one point we were overseeing altogether, destroyers, aircraft carriers, everything. I think we were overseeing like 32 ships altogether.
Okay.
And that's all the maintenance for them too. So you're just like, I'm going through packages, making sure everything is ordered so that when the ship comes in, everything's there. They can put it on and hopefully get the ship back out as soon as possible. So that was what my last job was. And one day I was curious. I wanted to see what the details of my contract was. And I went in and in the contract, it tells you exactly how much each position in the contract is going to receive. And I found out that the company was receiving $115 an hour for my spot. So for every hour that I was there, they made $115. I was making $29. So
it's like that saying when someone's like, oh, if I give you $1 million, like, could I do blah, blah? And it's like, no, because if you can easily give me $1 million, how much do you really have?
how much? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you won't even miss this money.
Yep.
So that gives you the concept of like, okay, well, I need to turn a profit. So I'm going to get cheap labor, but we're going to go ahead and pocket as much of this as possible.
And it's just like Build the Wall was a grift. Build the Wall no longer raises money, so they had to move on to something else. So it's now Golden Dome, much like the golden ticket that Donald Trump is now selling, where if you have $5 million, you can skip the line and get citizenship.
You too can be an American.
You know who usually has $5 million to throw around?
Qataris.
Criminals.
Qatari money.
Or that.
Terrorists.
Criminals.
Not saying all Qataris are terrorists. Not saying that.
Mexican cartels.
Let's just be serious here.
And
what about that?
Yeah, 7 of them just got let in the country.
Flown on a private jet?
So what's 5 times 7?
Here you go.
14 is 28.
Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. We are open. And I talked about this with my brother when he was like, what do you expect? I go, America's open for business. Like
he's selling access to everybody.
You thought he was bad when he was hawking off American secrets from his toilet? No, from Mar-a-Lago.
That was just the beginning.
Now, you know what I mean? This is where we're at.
Well, I mean, how emboldened would you be if the FBI raided your shit, found 70 plus boxes stored in different locations, had video of you loading up fucking airplanes full of boxes, moving them all over, had video of you playing full 3-card Monty with boxes at your property, and the American people still fucking elect you? Like, yeah, I'm gonna think I can get away with pretty much anything.
It's not even that. For me, it was the tipped over boxes. Like, oh yeah, there's some top secret shit just tipped over. Just
laid out.
No skiff. Fuck a skiff. But it all comes down to, of course, a judge in your pocket. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
And bought and sold. So it's like, let's see what seat they take. But let's not digress.
Speaking of bought and paid for, the DOD has formally accepted the $400 million 747 from Qatar.
Gift.
That's
an interesting tax write-off.
It is an interesting. It's an interesting situation just to begin with.
Most expensive gift that America has ever received.
Yes.
Officially.
And
we received the Statue of fucking Liberty. Let that sink in. That sink in.
The craziest part is that the owner of Trump's new Air Force One, or former owner, I should say, was linked to the Bob Mendez corruption scandal. The plane's owner, former Qatari Prime Minister Hamad bin Jassim Al Thani, is known as the Thief of Doha and has a history of terrorism, financing, and shady deals. So that's who we just got this plane from.
Doesn't Qatar fund the majority of Hamas? Yep. Isn't that where the heads of Hamas were hanging out in their billion-dollar mansions? You know what I mean? Like with billions, living the best life while their people are dying. Isn't that okay? But the college kids that are sitting there with the megaphones, they're the problem.
Yeah, let's deport them.
Okay, got it.
Like, again, like having a convicted felon a prolific business fraud, an adjudicated rapist, an accused pedophile, and 5-time draft dodging dickless coward like Donald Trump sitting there and trying to point his finger at the South African president.
This
like,
motherfucker is becoming a
serious?
CVS. This motherfucker is becoming a CVS receipt. Just so you know, the way that you
Bro.
like, literally list his resume. I'm just saying, it's just
Like, come on.
it's
Like,
just a lot.
what makes Trump like I can't even get liberals to like support me so that we can kick these motherfuckers in the teeth. But Donald Trump can literally say the dumbest shit in the world and everybody's gonna go, oh, yeah, he's great. Can I get some more?
Well, Ryan, you know what you need to do. Just like some of those
I
other
really don't, or I'd be
influencers,
doing it.
is you need to switch sides now and turn heel.
Fuck no.
If John Cena could do it in 2025, so could you. All right.
Hey, you know, in wrestling, it's acceptable. In politics, not so much.
Isn't it the same thing now?
It sure fucking is. I'm not gonna lie. It
After
really
I saw
is.
Hogan rip the shirt, I go, okay, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah, and it actually
But
worked.
see,
That's the scary
gonna
thing.
be the twist. That's gonna be the M. Night Shyamalan twist we all are waiting for.
Yeah.
You take off that lion's hat, and it's a Make America Great Again.
Nope.
Solid black edition.
Nope.
Ryan, I'm doing predictions, man.
And your predictions aren't going to come true, and I'm going to tell you why. Because as I said, and I like being able to say this, I left the Democratic Party almost 2 years ago. Actually, it is 2 years ago. And I am more loyal to Democrats and the Democratic Party as a lot of registered Democrats.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't change who I am, my morals, my principles. That doesn't change based off of who I'm registered with.
Account. Right.
Or my bank account. Trust me, do I know that I could make a hell of a lot more money being a MAGA piece of shit online? Absolutely.
Hey, man, the grifters. Oh,
yeah.
To add to that,
I could make so much more money.
The young lady who came out and was like, oh, you know, my family disowned me. I'm MAGA and blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to pay for school, blah, 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 blah. And she got all these donations because
and
people
paid
were
for
like,
school. And then she was like,
she's like, I played you fucking idiots. She goes, no.
See, now that I'm cool with. That I'm fine with.
All I got to say is, I'm like, that's
well played.
One of the coldest moves. Well played.
Yeah, that's all I had to say after I read it. I said, okay, well played.
I go,
I said, you paid for your school? I
said, you know what?
That's some GS shit right there.
That's 4D chess that they always talk about.
Yeah, why Donald Trump's playing checkers.
I'm just playing with Cheerios. Stop it.
And we're going to get to our Stop Making Stupid People Famous, which I think some of you will love today. But before that, I just want to go through this a little bit because I know some of you did not know who the former owner of that jet was. So, you know, finding out that it comes from a pretty prolific terrorist, you know, just kind of adds to the mystique, you might say. The Defense Department for
all I was about to ask is, how much is it going to take for them to rip that bad boy apart and see what's actually in there?
Oh, we're going to get to that because you know my aircraft mechanic ass is going to break that down. So the Defense Department formally accepted the luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from Qatar to temporarily serve as the new Air Force One for President Donald Trump, one of the biggest foreign gifts ever given to the U.S. government. The move fulfills Trump's desire for a new presidential aircraft after years of delays in the U.S. government's contract with the aerospace giant for new planes to serve that role. The Secretary of Defense has accepted a Boeing 747 from Qatar in accordance with all federal rules and regulations. Chief Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell said in a statement, bullshit. The Department of Defense will work to ensure proper security measures and functional mission requirements are considered for an aircraft used to transport the President of the United States. So, it's already come out that the projected cost to fix this aircraft and make it flyable or make it feasible for it to be used as Air Force One would be somewhere around $900 million. Now, it will also take up to 12 to 18 months to accomplish all of this once everything is approved, funded, and everything. For those of you who do not know what is in, let me rephrase this. I'm an aircraft mechanic, I was in the Air Force, and I'm a huge aircraft nerd. I don't know everything that's in Air Force One. Okay? Like, there's secret shit that none of us know.
Right.
Very few people know. And you would have to put those same systems on this aircraft. That aircraft has to be able to do everything that the current aircraft that they use is Air Force One.
Air Force One is doing.
It's a 40-year aircraft that is maintained by some of the best maintainers in the world, and that is constantly updated with the most up-to-date shit that they want to put on the aircraft.
Yeah.
If the U.S. Air Force makes a phone call and says, we want this part for the 2 Air Force One jets that we maintain, they're going to have those 2 parts sitting on the tarmac of Andrews Air Force Base waiting to get put in each one of those fucking aircrafts. And it will be done so fast that it would make your fucking head spin.
So what we all know that this is more of a cosmetic issue for Trump. What would it take to just cosmetically upgrade the interior of the Air Force One? The current line of Air Force One.
Well, the problem is that it's never going to be acceptable because Trump wants gaudy gold bullshit, throughout and Air Force One was not designed to be gaudy. It was designed
the people's plane.
It was designed to be the people's plane. It was designed to host other nations. It was designed to be a flying office that the president could operate from, like, for in cases like 9/11, that if he had to stay in the air, he could operate. There's just so much that goes into it. It would cost a hell of a lot less to probably refurbish the Air Force Ones we currently have than it would be to do that. Right. And the reason I say that is because you wouldn't have to replace all of the, you wouldn't have to tear it apart and replace all the guts, the mechanics, the chaff and flare systems, all of that.
But
go ahead.
Here's my question for you, because as we witnessed with the IDF and how they did this beeper operation with the smallest amount of explosive in a beeper that then is shipped around the world and back again to its targets, and this pinpointed accuracy, what's stopping that same amount or a little bit amount in multiple locations to blow up this? To A, locate it, but B, when we're talking about the guts, how are we even looking at this to stop something like that? Because this is where the danger comes in, right? That you have the president and remove Trump. The next president comes in, he's looking at that like, I ain't taking that, even though Trump is saying that he's going to keep it, right?
Well, that's the thing. He's taking it.
Right.
So the plane's going with him. Which is the whole reason he wants this. So what Trump is going to do, again, he's fucking over taxpayers, and all of his voters are like, oh, we love it. So what he's going to do is he's already got the plane. It's here. So now they're going to refurbish it. They're going to put all the shit that needs to be put on it, and then he's going to take it with him. So he's using tax dollars to refurbish the plane, much like he used all of his donors' money to refurbish his own plane a couple of years ago and repaint it. Yeah. So he's doing the exact same thing. He's just doing it with taxpayer money this time. And then he's going to take that plane with him, and we're going to have the 2 brand new Air Force Ones that Boeing is set to deliver. Now, some of you might be asking me, how long has the Boeing deliveries been put off for? 2027.
Wow.
So now if you're doing math in your fucking head, 12 to 18 months from now would be what year are you?
Wow. 2027 is what we're looking at.
So we're looking at wasting $1 billion fucking dollars so that Donald Trump can have his fucking ego plane.
And we're talking
about what it is.
He's going to keep it passed because he can't keep these planes. These planes are going to go to the next
these are going to the government.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just going to put it on this show right now that who's ever running for president to combat that pendulum swing, I would right now, I'm telling anybody, I will vote for you if you go on record that you will seize all assets, you will freeze all assets, and you will prosecute without habeas corpus, without any due process. I would like you to just literally lock this person up.
Well,
and literally confiscate everything across the board until we set the record straight. And not just him. anybody that has helped funded him, anybody that has helped in any way push this narrative, push this envelope. I want everybody held accountable, and I want every record set straight.
Well,
that's the person I'm voting for.
And I probably should have talked to you about this in the green room earlier, but I've decided I'm just going to fucking do it. I think I'm just going to run for president, and we're just going to do what needs to be done. I'm tired of it.
We're getting to a place, man.
18 United States Code, Chapter 115, subsection 2381, treason.
Yeah. That
is the law that I will use to put every single one of these motherfuckers in prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple. That's my campaign banner. I'm just going to put 18 United States Code, Chapter 115, subsection 2381, treason. The punishment for treason is 5 to 10 years in life, $100,000 fine, or death.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but I don't need $100,000, and I'm not real interested in looking in that motherfucker's face for a long time. So that only leaves one other option that I'm interested in.
This is getting to a place where it really is.
Where we're going to find out why the Second Amendment was written. And let me say why. Just so I'm not being paranoid here, guys. I'm really not. Like, this shit is happening. They're picking up people off the street. This isn't a joke. We aren't, and they love it.
Immigrant rights are under
These people were coming out of court in Phoenix, Arizona.
You guys mind sharing what they were arrested
getting
for?
picked up. And there's tons of videos. This isn't the best one, but they're just picking people up as they're coming out of court. These people think that they're done. Like, they just went to court and did what they're supposed to do.
They're check-ins. They're doing their check-ins and everything.
Exactly.
Proper.
And then they come out, and these motherfuckers, and you notice they've all got masks on. All their faces are covered.
You know, this really is.
If you show up in my fucking neighborhood with your fucking faces covered, I don't give a fuck if you've got a badge around your neck wearing a hoodie. Like, you've got your face covered, so you know you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and you don't want the internet and everybody else seeing you doing, that you don't want your body cam showing. So, like, when one of you get capped, I'm going to side with the person that did it. Like, I'm telling you that right now. And the reason is because you all are walking around with your faces covered like a bunch of fucking Nazis.
No,
so don't be surprised when somebody says
Nazis didn't cover their face. It was the Klan.
Well, that's
the Klan
true.
Who covered their face.
You're right.
This is the new Klan. This is definitely the new Klan.
It's a mix of cowards, cowards and Nazis.
Yeah.
That's true. At least Nazis had the balls to show their face. These people are just.
And I'm going to say this again. Nazis had more rights than these immigrants do, because they had due process.
Yeah. I mean, we're arresting judges, folks. We're arresting members of Congress. Showing up trying to do their job.
Talking about his. These people lost their goddamn mind.
Are you serious?
Elena Haba, Hobbit, whatever her name is. Homegirl is talking about we're going to prosecute it to the highest extent. It's like Homegirl brushed up on him. That's what happened. Like, it was just like
I actually responded to her, and I responded with.
Of course you did.
I responded with 18 United States Code, and I said, "This is what we should be using with you." And here's my thing. I wish I was joking, being like hyperbole. I'm not. Like, I really.
We know you're not. Ryan Rand is a real.
It's not even about ranting. Like, I don't want people thinking like it's a joke. It's not a joke.
No.
Like,
no, you're citing
they're
code.
picking people up off the street. They're arresting judges. They're arresting members of Congress that don't go with their plan. And this was the post that he was talking about. So here's U.S. Attorney Elena Haba, who isn't qualified for that fucking job, and she's just continuously showing us why. She wanted to state, Title 18 United States Code Section 111. So I just went on to state Title 18 United States Code Chapter 115, 2381. And it talks about treason and what the punishment is.
Yeah.
See how many people liked it?
Yeah. Turn the knife.
I love it. And that's why MAGA doesn't like me, because I have receipts and I show them how stupid they are and the hypocrisy that they show every freaking day. Like, you're sitting there and you're talking about you don't like me because I call people names. Like, the president of the United States is calling reporters names in the Oval Office, but you all don't want to correct him. Imagine, just fucking imagine for 1 second if.
Imagine if
Obama started calling reporters idiots, stupid,
failed.
That moron, failed reporter, fake news,
failed network, right?
Fucking Christ,
yeah. It just it shows you how low we have come. It was a race to the bottom, and we're not even there yet, but it's still a race.
You sure?
We're not there yet.
It fucking feels like it.
Yeah.
Oh, so with that, Ian has a new segment that he wants to do. Take it away, brother.
Yes. I think as we're watching everything unfold, and this is for all those who are here, hold the mic for any new voices. We do a couple different segments. Stop making stupid people famous. Feelings Friday was a great one that we had, but we're moving that into a Wednesday. And for the newest one that's joining our family is business or pleasure. We play the game, and we get to find out, is it business or pleasure that Trump is making the deals that he's making? And the number one thing that we witnessed in the Middle East is all these deals that the Trump organization is getting nice and greasy and fat off of. Yep. And that's not the McDonald's in the semi-trucks that were driven up to the palace. No. Here we have conversations about not only this $400 million plane that was gifted to us, and like I said, so was the Statue of Liberty, but that actually was for the people.
Yeah.
He also got a golf course, and they're talking about that some of these gifts are leading up to possibly $1 trillion. And so when you look at some of the stuff, you can read up on it, Ryan, that they have under. But welcome to the segment, business or pleasure.
So, business or pleasure, Qatar golf resort deal. The Trump organization has partnered with Saudi firm Dar Global and Qatari government-owned Qatari DR to develop a luxury golf resort near Doha. This marks the company's first foreign deal since Trump's return to office. Critics argue that this arrangement violates Trump's second-term ethics pledge, which stated that foreign deals would not involve foreign governments. Yeah, okay. Deepening ties with Saudi Arabia. Trump's relationship with Saudi Arabia continues to be a focal point. His properties have hosted multiple events for the Saudi-backed Live Golf League, and he has been involved in facilitating discussions around a potential merger between Live Golf and the PGA Tour. These actions raise questions about the blending of presidential duties with personal business interests. And again, I just want to remind all the MAGA clowns out there that Donald Trump went down to Florida on April 4th to hang out with Saudi Arabia and Live Golf instead of being at Dover Air Force Base to receive our 4 fallen soldiers that had died in Lithuania. That's right. Once again, he doesn't put his presidential duties before his personal duties, and that's why I think he's a piece of shit. Broader golf business expansion. Beyond Qatar, the Trump organization has expanded its footprint in the Gulf region, including projects in Dubai and Oman. These ventures, some involving state-linked entities, further complicate the ethical landscape, especially given Trump's dual role as president and businessman.
Yeah.
So, like Ian and I were talking earlier today, and it's pretty simple. That wasn't a trip, to the Middle East for America. That was a trip to the middle or world peace. That was a trip for him to secure personal business deals.
That's right.
And an airplane. Unfortunately, South Africa's president does not have an airplane to give to Trump.
That's such a good clip. It's so subtle.
It's like,
and it's so.
And it went right over his fucking head too.
Oh,
That's the beautiful part.
Like, it went around his big ass. Please.
He's like, yeah, no, I'd take it too. Yeah, we know you would.
We know.
Stupid clown.
We know. Yeah.
So with that, I want to move on to our Stop Making Stupid People Famous segment.
Yes, we've been waiting for this one.
So Stop Making Stupid People Famous today is Taylor Lorenz, who is a left-wing pundit on social media, much like myself. But as we've talked about, for some reason, these people seem to forget their morals and principles and whatever else when their pockets start getting a little empty. And I want to show a little empathy because I do get it. If you're on here and you're putting food on your table, you're paying your car note, and you're paying your rent, doing this, I get it. You start seeing that dry up because what you're posting isn't landing, so you start trying to chase the money. And in my opinion, that's kind of what starts happening here is they start chasing the money. And so she wanted to talk about Joe Biden and cancer diagnosis. And she posted this, which I thought was pretty disgusting. And then it turns out that it wasn't even true to begin with. So she said, hopefully Biden rots in hell and rests in piss. She posted this saying, Joe Biden, it would be an insult to my dead son for everyone to have health care. So it got fact checked and said Biden did not actually say this. The headline is from a Vice News story attacking Biden for an ad where he recounted the help he and his family got from their private insurance when Beau was diagnosed with cancer.
Wasn't Vice created by one of the original Proud Boys?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, let all that sink in there.
Uh-huh. So all you people that, told me that I was wrong and, supported people like her over me, at least I don't flip-flop with the wind. At least I'm not a piece of shit. I think I'm just not pretty. That's what I notice about all these that get away with this shit. Like,
I don't know, ladies in the chat. Is Ryan pretty? I think Ryan might be pretty.
I'm not pretty. You don't have to lie to my ass. Yeah, we ain't got to go there.
I'm gonna take a survey now.
But I mean,
oh no.
We've got Lindy Lee. We've got Taylor Lorenz. We've got so many on the left that they're literally hurting. And I'm not even saying the Democratic Party. You're hurting the agenda of the left. Yeah. Like if there's anything to be done or anybody that is normalizing Donald Trump and everything that's happening right now, to me, you're an enemy.
That's right.
Like you're normalizing them taking over our country.
I'm gonna need you to post real quick something right here that Brian just said.
What's up? Where? I'm prison pretty? First off, how do you know that, Brian? That's what I want to know. You sound like a judge of that, brother.
Oh, good. I love it.
That's funny.
I love it.
Fuck both of you. So,
I see you, B.
But speaking of other Democrats that are really screwing the pooch here, Cory Booker, this motherfucker, dude,
just coming out swinging, man. Just coming out swinging.
Well, if you're gonna get a rant out of me tonight, it's probably gonna be here.
I hope so. I hope so. Because I'm really. We talked earlier. I really am trying to figure out what the duality of this man. Like, I bet you he's not even fucking vegan at this point. You know what I mean? I bet you he's eating a steak. That's how I feel about him. I bet you he's eating a steak.
He's
right
probably
now,
all bullshit.
Medium rare. You know what I mean? His big ass is just doing it. And I'm just like, because you ain't that big and be vegan. I got a lot of vegan friends. A lot of my vegan friends ain't that big.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you big bone, Cory.
Big bone.
Big bone. Okay. It's really interesting to see that this man did this historical moment and champion something where a lot of us really watched him captivate an audience.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward, and then he's doing this little sit-in with Hakeem Jeffries on the stoop, on the steps of Capitol Hill. The only thing is they're not as dope as the Bill from Schoolhouse Rock.
No.
But at the same time, I still was like, let me give them a little credit. They're still doing something that is bringing people together. They're really creating community, and that's something I really appreciate about them. But what the fuck is this move? The Lone Ranger that's going to be over here. That's
only Democrat to vote.
Only Democrat. And I'm sitting here like, what is going on that you do this? So how do you have this duality? Like, what political move is there? I get Chuck Schumer. I'm going to vote for this because we need to keep the courts open. That makes sense to me.
That at least made sense.
Seeing the fight that's happening, especially now, I'm like, you know what, Chuck? I rock with you on that. I don't know about that angry letter bullshit, but I rock with you on your logic regarding this.
It at least made sense. Yeah, whether you agreed with it or didn't, it at least was something you go, okay, thank you for explaining your reason. Yeah. I at least appreciated that, but I was definitely one of the people that would have rather him shut it down. But
what's up with Cory?
So Cory Booker, what pisses me off is what you've already mentioned. The fact that this dude goes on there talking about, all the shit he talks about. He even sent me an email. He sent me a fundraising email today. And I sent him back an email. I'm like, are you serious, dude? So like, yeah, they literally sent me a fundraising email today. It says, for every Musk, there's a Martin, a Medgar, a Malcolm. I read that and I was fucking done. Like I didn't even need to read the rest, but I did.
I would quote Malcolm X to him about the liberal that we should all be careful around.
Amen. And millions of others who will stand for America even when they try to tear it down. I believe we are at another turning point in our country. This is not a partisan moment. This is not a left or right moment. This is the right or wrong moment. It's time for everyone to stand up, even if your voice shakes. It's time to stand up, even if your legs are weary. We achieved every great thing in this country because average citizens stood up and said enough is enough. Blah, 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 more bullshit. So the point
Give me your money.
Exactly. And then it asked for money. And I said, fuck you, you're not getting any of my money, which is what I've been saying to every Democrat until they figure out to pull their heads out of their asses. So you're going to send that email, start quoting, fucking civil rights icons while simultaneously being the only Democrat to vote for Charles Kushner to be ambassador to, I think it's France. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And he's the father of Jared Kushner.
And he's the father of Jared Kushner, the father-in-law of Ivanka, and of course now related by marriage to Donald Trump.
That's right.
Let me also remind you that Donald Trump also had to pardon Jared Kushner on his way out the door his first time as president.
That's right.
So you have a pardoned felon that is now the ambassador to France.
Yeah.
And Cory Booker voted for it. So again, let me just say for those in the back, Cory Booker is a performative piece of shit. And every other Democrat that can't get on board needs to completely fuck off. Like, I'm tired of this shit. We're literally to the point where we citizens are going to have to pick up guns to fucking take our country back. And you Democrats that have the power, that we elected to protect us, the judges that we elected to protect us from a lawless fucking government and president.
Yeah.
Like, we are literally at that point. So what are you going to do? If you're not willing to shut the government down, if you're not willing to vote against his appointments, like, look at Robert F. Kennedy. This fucking clown can't answer a question without losing his shit. Yeah. It's very evident that whatever damage that the heroin didn't do, the worm clearly fucking finished up on and starved a long time ago. Like, this dude...
I have to jump in because I know you're about to lose your shit on this one, and I hope that you do jump in with a Ryan rant. But Ryan, when I really do take this into consideration, and I think to myself, how would the Republicans be handling the situation if it was on the other foot? If they were the ones that were the minority in the same exact situation, how would they be disrupting Congress? How would they be disrupting the president's agenda? How would they be sabotaging? How would they
every step of the way?
You know what I mean? How would they be dragging progress?
And we won't do it.
And this is the policy that I'm trying to wrap my head around of, like, are Democrats really allowing all of this? And look at tonight's bill, right? If it goes through, if it does pass, are they betting on it to pass for them to then run on like they have an opportunity? Like, they think that this is just a normal election.
I don't think they're that smart.
It's not about smart. The name of the game, that's one of their strategists. What's the one from Louisiana? The Raging Cajun. James. He's talked about this numerous times about how Democrats need to stay on the sidelines and let this train wreck just happen. And it's like, but this train wreck happening is hurting people. Yeah. Like, if you have a chance to save the people in the car from the train that's about to run over them, why wouldn't you do it instead of sitting there and be like, let's watch this unfold and then we'll react afterwards?
Yeah.
No, get the people out of the way. Like, what is going on? Thank you, James Carville. It's one of those things where I'm sitting here and I'm just like, how is that your strategy? And then he has so much to say about, of course, what, like we've talked about, some of the Democrats that need to get in line, right?
Yeah.
And play the game. But it's like, this is also coming from the wise old sage, right? That he is. His heyday was with Clinton.
Yeah.
And you're sitting here, you're like, this is not the same fight anymore. We're just not there.
No.
And whatever this is, I'm just thinking, how do we delay, deny, and defend our Constitution?
Yeah, I just, like you said, I'm at a point where I don't think everybody realizes what we're fighting against. And before I show this, I don't, before I show this video, because I do think it's so representative of what I deal with on a daily basis and what I think liberals deal with on a daily basis that try to go out and defend our agenda and everything. And I just want to start this. This is just a video I've seen. I am not advocating or supporting anything outside of this video that this particular person is doing, this Dean Withers. So just know that all I am co-signing is this video and this interaction. Let me just say that. So just listen to this interaction that he has with a MAGA person, and it will tell you everything you need to know of why we're here.
And then one other thing I want to say, you're the one saying I'm the one that doesn't like Americans should move. See, you got to twist it. In this setting, I'm the patriot, you're the traitor.
You're the one that hates on the president of the United States on a daily basis, so move the fuck out.
You're the one that hates on the Constitution.
Except I don't hate the Constitution.
Yeah, you do.
The original Constitution.
What does that mean?
The Constitution that was made to be unchanged.
The Constitution was not made to be unchanged, you dumbass. What's a constitutional amendment?
Please show me where that says.
What's a constitutional amendment?
Please show me where that said.
Constitutional amendments!
Please show me where that said.
Do you want me to, show you where in the Constitution the amendments exist?
I want you to show me where in the Constitution it wanted to be changed.
What is a constitutional amendment? Section 1. Elasticity clause. Hey bud, do you like your right to own guns?
Oh, gladly.
Oh, do you know that was from a change to the Constitution?
Please show me that, actually.
The Second Amendment. What is an amendment, Caleb? You're amending it. You're changing it. An amendment is definitionally a change. Fucking hell.
Dude, that is what it's like dealing with MAGA every day.
I just got absorbed. I was like, wait a minute. Is he Googling this shit? Is he actually live, checking this?
Yeah, he was. He live started checking it because he couldn't grasp that. Those are the dumb fucks that vote for Trump. That is the level. If you voted for Trump, you're that fucking stupid.
But those people are allowed to procreate. That's the part that I'm actually
the scariest
terrified.
fucking part.
You know what I mean?
They're going to be raising another child. But
that typing, how could that felt like an SNL skit? To hear, you know what I mean? At the end, just the silence, and you just hear the clicking, the typing. That is so good. And then I'm sorry, for TikTok to right there, it's that's how it ends. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That is a whole sketch on its own.
Yeah, he really hogtied him. He really hogtied him after he walked into that one.
Quiet. just crickets.
Oh my God. It's I wouldn't be able to contain myself as soon as I started hearing the clicks. I'd be like, you really need to fucking Google that? To me, that's where, me, to me, that's where I'd have pulled him out, be like, okay, done with you, on to the next.
I'm out. No, to allow him to just sit there. That's all you need.
Dean destroys them daily, but let's be honest, it's not that tough.
No, Dean is not that tough. It's not. No.
Well, you know what I've learned
are not that tough. Yeah,
is that 77+ million Americans, they're okay with this. They want the hate. They want the division. They want to make sure that whites stay in the majority. That's what this is all about. Let's say the quiet part out loud. And then again, to the 80 to 90 million that stayed home and didn't vote.
How are you
people.
now? How
Yeah,
are you
fuck you
now?
people.
How are you now?
Yeah.
How are Arabs for Peace, formerly known as Arabs for Trump?
Yeah.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
So I wanted to talk about this when I brought up Taylor Lorenz. So let me kind of circle back real quick before we move on. But I did want to talk a little bit about Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis.
Yeah.
Of course, first off, I think I speak for Ian as well when I say, you know, we're praying for him and their family. You know, if you've ever seen what cancer does to somebody, then, you know, you don't wish that shit on anybody. And I will say that I was a little surprised to see Donald Trump actually manage to have him or his team put out a post that just ended with hope he does better or whatever. It's like, oh, there was no, I'm sure somebody else wrote it, but yeah.
I wasn't surprised. It looks like ChatGPT. There was nothing misspelled.
Yeah.
No Kim Peffy. Like
So-
that shit was no.
And I think everybody that listens to us, you know, and follows us on social media knows that this is not a malicious comment or topic. I don't, like I said, I don't wish this on anybody, you know, but Joe Biden's 80 something years old, you know, we all gotta go from something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's lived a very long life. And I told Ian I was going to tell a little quick story because I want y'all to have a little context of why I asked this question. The question I ask is, when did his inside circle know?
Right.
And I ask that because I know for a fact that my dad knew for almost 2 years that he was terminal, that there was no cure, you know, but they could prolong his life, which, by the way, is exactly what they've said about Biden's cancer, is that they can't cure it at this point, but they can hopefully treat it and prolong his life a little bit. So if that's what he chooses to do, that's the route he's going. And I've watched my father kind of go through the same thing. I've talked about it a little bit on the show, but I got out of the military the day my dad died. That was my last day in the military. And luckily they let me go home and spend Christmas with him a few weeks before he died. But I had to go back like days before he passed. So I wasn't there with him. But I remember the day I came home, I had called my sister. She had flown up to take care of my dad because I was in the military, so I couldn't go for a long period of time. My brother had a job. My sister was just in this position where she could go. So we flew her up there, and she was taking care of Dad. And I think it was like maybe a week or two in, you know, she's like, I took him in for his chemo, and they came in like half hour later and like literally ripped everything out of him and, you know, admitted him to the hospital and said, you know, call his loved ones. He might not make it through the night. So that was how I ended up coming home. And I remember I went straight to the hospital because my mom and everybody was there. And then later that night, you know, Dad had said, hey, make sure you get some sleep. And I was like, yeah. I was like, my sister was in my room, in my bed. So I was like, well, I'll just sleep on the couch, you know, because the couch was big. It would have been fine. And Dad was like, no, sleep in my bed. And I was like, you know, no, I'm good. And he got kind of like almost upset. It's like, no, sleep in my room. All right, fine, Dad, I'll sleep in your room. So we get there. My sister's like, well, I'm going to jump in the shower real quick. And I was like, cool, I'll jump in after you. And I go and I sit on the edge of the bed and I look up and there's this packet of paper. My dad had this pin board and he used to pin like dance competition stuff, just like family photo. He just had random shit that he posts on it. It was in his bedroom. And he had a big packet of paper, and it was, you know how like when you fold it up, tri-fold it to put it in an envelope, it was like that. So it was like very noticeable and sticking out from the wall. So I grabbed it and unpinned it and I started reading it, and it's my dad's PET scan. And it said that it had spread to his liver, his spine, his brain, his bladder, like pretty much everywhere.
Damn.
And that scan was done in September of 2005. My dad died January 2007.
Damn.
So he knew all that time
Yeah.
that he wasn't going to be here much longer. So because of my experience with that, I really do question when they knew this.
Is this triggering? Is this triggering for you in a way?
Not yet. The triggering thing for me is knowing that Obama, Biden, Democrats, more times than not, try to protect people like me. They try to make sure that we can have medical insurance and not get charged out the ass because we have a pre-existing condition, because I have Lynch syndrome that causes cancer in me in my 30s versus normal people.
Yeah.
You know, so it's difficult in that aspect to see, knowing that Trump and MAGA and Republicans are hell-bent on screwing people over like myself, Americans over like myself, and making it so either we can't get medical coverage or we can't afford to get medical coverage.
Right.
And so that's what's triggering to me, honestly. Like I said,
Or
it's
that
not
you get so in debt trying to pay it all off. Like
exactly.
You know,
and that was my dad. My dad didn't have the same coverage I had. He still had good coverage because he was with Chrysler at the time. But, you know, when he died, we still had thousands of dollars in medical bills that we had to cover. Yeah. And, you know, luckily, again, my dad had set us up, so I was able to cover those things, you know, pretty easily. But like you said, man, not every family's like that. Not every parent is able to, you know, condense everything and make sure their debts are all paid. Like my dad, because he knew, he made sure everything was paid off. Like literally when he died, all I had to worry about was the medical and the house payment. He had consolidated everything and put it into the house. So it just, you know, because of all that and knowing how 100 days out, he drops out.
Yeah.
And I just remember a lot of us at the time being like, okay, why? Like, why now?
Yeah.
And to me, the first thing I thought when I saw it, whether right, wrong, or otherwise, but the first thought I had was, that's why.
He knew.
I was like, okay, now it makes sense. But here's my thing.
But it's not just that. That's why he dropped out at that moment. That's when he came to terms with it.
True. Could have been.
You know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah. No.
Because that's the biggest thing for this to metastasize. I was talking to my wife about it a couple of days ago when we found out about it, when we were reading. I go, oh man, you know, this is what he has, prostate, blah blah. And she's talking. My wife being my wife,
Medical.
she just likes to and then she likes to just jump into the conversation and talk over me. And as I'm like trying to read the story, and so I'm just like, she's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I go, metastasized to the bone. She goes, oh,
that's a big deal.
I go, so not a big deal anymore? Oh, it is a big deal. Okay, let me finish the goddamn story. So it's like, it's one of those things where, you know, we were talking about it, and yeah, if you do like, you know, find it at a certain time, you can work with it. That was there. And that didn't happen since January, since losing. So, and here's the thing, I don't even care. I'm like, okay, you were supposed to be the bridge. You know, you ran on being what you kind of put out there as being a one-term president, coming in, course correcting the ship, getting us out of a global pandemic, and then being the bridge for the next generation. You said that.
Yeah.
I vividly remember you saying that in the 2020 election.
Yep.
And you won. And all I thought was he picked Kamala, and you know what? He probably should have stepped down 2 years into his term and made Kamala the president, and be like, she can run this thing. She has the
credentials. That would have been a checkmate move.
Do you know what I mean? Like, here she is now, first female president. She's doing her thing. That could have been a solid thing. He would have gone down. Look, he got us all set up. He turned it over to her. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But power corrupts, absolutely.
Yep.
And for you to think and even walk around doing some shows, whatever, talking about I could have won, I could have beat Trump. Sleepy Joe, you were good for that one term, my man. You were a great vice president.
But again, we voted for the package. We didn't just vote. We didn't just vote for Biden.
Yeah.
You know, and I've said it on the show countless times. I voted for Joe Biden thinking that they were going to pass the baton off to Kamala and set her up for success. Yeah. And that's not what they did.
Yeah.
And you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, Ian, because I know this is kind of a hot button topic. But somebody asked the question about this On Fuck America tour thing. And while I don't know all the details, I will say that I'm very fucking happy that I stayed away from that. But to me, and this is just from the outside looking in, and this is not a personal dig at anybody involved with it, but it does show me it's just more evidence of the left not even being able to organize without infighting. And whatever that infight, is about, if it's justified or not, that's for other people to discuss. Yeah. But it just from the outside looking in, if you're an independent, Republican, liberal, just looking for some guidance, and you're watching all these political pundits and influencers that are supposed to be on the same side, not able to get on the same page for something like this, it just, to me, it makes everybody kind of look bad. And it makes people like me who do, this pundit, or well, Ian too, we do this political pundit stuff. And then you see people that are supposed to all be on the same side can't all figure out a lunch order, let alone political policy.
It's because they're not using Signal. That's what it is. The biggest thing is that I think about this, and with Unfuck America, the tour really showed me a lot. And what Ryan is touching on, where he said maybe I don't want to touch about it. We actually, tonight's episode was supposed to have Z on, and she flaked. I don't know, she just.
I wasn't going to say that.
I'm gonna say it.
Go, brother. There. It's all you.
She flaked. We tried to communicate. I asked her to, I gave her my number. I said, let's talk. We'd love to build a show around like a number of things. I found her because she was labeled as a campaign manager for the woman in Florida that we were following, and she lost, but she put a little bit of fear in the Republican deep ruby red wall that's out there in Florida. And that's, I thought, was going to be a really good show, to have a campaign manager talk to us about what's happening on the front lines. That's the show I wanted to have. And then Unfuck America came out, and she told me she was about to do all that. And I said, that's great. Let's touch base. And then everything went where it went. And then she did a live, and the issue with doing live is that people slip and they say things. They either have a Freudian slip, or their inner thoughts come out, and you can't take it back when the genie's out of the bottle. And so some things happen, and even Ryan and I talked about, microaggressions, and maybe this younger generation is a little more softer than maybe him and I, who are battle tested, mother approved. And there's one of those things where you really look at this tour, where you look at all these different personalities. To me, I start looking at, and that's why I made a comment about Dean's not that hard, but he's definitely, he's sharp. He knows his knowledge. He knows what's going on. It's fun to watch him have his moments. But at the same time, you're looking at a lot of the stuff, and you're looking at the sensitive level, the sensitivity level. You look at the compatibility. I look at you, Ryan, and I'm like, why weren't you asked to be on something like that? Like, you're the perfect candidate to have there to go off on somebody, and then I even question, are we past our prime in this generation that's coming up now? Do you know what I mean? Like when I think about where do we get in when we're going to do some double Dutch, are they looking at us like, no, we're going to cross your ankles? Like you're past your prime. Yeah. And at the same time, I do look at how term and age limits really are key factors. We're actually in our prime. Yeah. Because we still have enough to do the heavy lifting. We still have enough in us to do the pull off, get in the grit, get in the trenches. Yep. But we're also smart enough to know how to work hard and not
experienced enough. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Work smart and not hard. And we have that nice balance. And I want to really push this. We were the last generation that understood how to be outside and hang out and meet and connect with people and get where we needed to go without a cell phone or without the internet. And then we're the generation that learned all those things to then teach our elders. So we have this beautiful sweet spot that millennials really kind of own in itself, because everybody that's past us now grew up with all those things. We showed them as our little brothers or cousins. Sisters.
They never saw the other side.
They never saw the other side. They were literally engulfed in it, where we, much like Bane, we were born in it. You merely adopted the dark. So here we are right
which
now.
Would break first, your spirit or your body?
Some of the best lines. Movie, but some of the best lines. But so Unfuck America really showed me that and even Mr. Nance, Malcolm Nance, was on our show. He talked about this. You see this hodgepodge of different movements, but nobody's connected.
Yes.
And this showed me the younger generation and how narcissistic they are, because they all think they're more important than our actual country
and the movement.
And then it also shows me how big of an umbrella the liberal, democratic, and progressive movement has to be to fight off willful ignorance.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that is so damning. It's so easy to be willfully ignorant. And the fact that people really choose that lifestyle.
It's easy to fool people that have to literally Google, can you amend the Constitution? Like,
is the amendment actually not the original Constitution?
Yeah. The original Constitution didn't want to be amended.
The genius of our forefathers is that they made it amendments and that they knew that times would change. The fact that we are still living to a T, well, I should say they cherry pick, but to the T, a document that was written by candlelight. I want that, and feather pen.
Yeah.
I want that to really sink in.
And just, for Donald Trump and those out who for some reason don't know this, the country is not thousands of years old.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
The land here is, but our country, the United States of America, is only like 250 something years old.
Yeah.
Like, not thousands of years like Donald Trump said when speaking to a foreign dignitary.
That's right. That's right. It's so true.
Just
and Ryan,
shoot me in the fucking head,
text
please.
real quick. It's pew.
It's just
this is
make
the
it
part.
stop.
So Unfuck America, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great start. But I would like to see people like Ryan, who's talking to people, and maybe he won't.
Well, us, not just me.
Well,
us.
yeah, not everybody wants to see me. You're more of a social.
I think you're prettier than I am.
Presence. I'm prison pretty, and so
we can't both be prison pretty. Damn it.
Yes, we can. All right. And let me
We're
tell
gonna
you,
do some damage.
You're gonna do some damage. I got to go to the Hamptons, but tomorrow. But I will not be doing no Diddy parties. I promise you that right now.
Oh my God, man! Talk about the freaky shit coming out about that.
I can't. I just can't. Those
like coming and then putting it on.
Those sex workers, not pretty. Not prison pretty. Not pretty at all.
Not paid enough. Whatever they were paid.
Someone got paid and they got a small cut.
I'm telling you. So listen, man, I want to run through a couple things real quick, and then we're going to end it with our positives. First, for those who have not heard, the family of Ashley Babbitt settled with the federal government for $5 million on their wrongful death lawsuit for their daughter, Ashley Babbitt.
She got paid. The family got paid $5 million?
$5 million. Now, the most beautiful part, though, is that the lawyers get a third.
Damn.
But anyway.
Damn.
And then taxes are going to be a bitch. Actually,
Damn.
oh no, do they get taxed on a judgment? I don't know if they get taxed on a judgment like that. Anyway, they'll blow it on something. Crack. Thoughts?
Damn. She lived how she died how she lived, man. If idiot.
Crazy bitch.
Whatever it is.
For me,
she died doing what she loved. That's all we could say.
Normalizing settling lawsuits with domestic terrorists who storm the Capitol.
Yeah.
Is fucking insane. Let's just call that what it is. It's fucking insane.
Would they have won that if it was Kamala?
No, because the Department of Justice, until Donald Trump took office and installed a bunch of loyalists, had said that because the two investigations into the shooting that both found that Michael Byrd was acting within his rights and duty, shooting her, that they were not going to pay out any wrongful death suit because it wasn't a wrongful death.
Justified death?
It was a justified shooting. Not once, but twice.
Yeah.
So... Like literally, there was no legal reason for the government to settle that other than red meat to Trump's base.
Yeah.
Just like the 1,600 pardons for the January 6th. It's so that when the next time he calls on them, they will show up because they know that he will protect them.
Yeah.
Just like all the people covering their faces wearing ice vests, that's the stand back, stand by crowd, right?
Right. Yeah.
He told them to stand back and stand by, and they stood back and they stood by.
They ain't let that brother. They let him be a fall guy. So I'm just letting you know right now.
Like, it's just insane. And then I went and I looked because I was kind of curious. What did the families of the Uvalde shooting get? For their kids getting shot in the face, why about 100 officers all stood outside.
Yeah, that's bad.
And you want to know what the answer to that was? $2 million divided by 21.
Wow. That's sad.
$2 million divided by 21.
Damn. Yeah, this system sucks.
But the domestic terrorist piece of shit, her family gets $5 million. And then another thing I wanted to bring up, it's the people that
Stephanie.
What did she say? It's safe to say that Ashley Babbitt took one for the team. Oh, most definitely. Conservative women love taking hot loads to the chest.
Damn. All right, let's positives. I'm
done. Oh, hang on real quick. So, but real quick, I just wanted to also bring up that the people that support this, Ashley Babbitt's family getting $5 million for her being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
They also are the ones that always cry when we bring up reparations for slavery.
Of course.
So, and then finally, before we get into it, Moody's has downgraded America's credit rating from AAA to a AA1 on fear of economic downturn. So, congratulations, everybody! You got what you voted for.
We voted for the economy.
Yep, and it's tanking. Congratulations.
Here it is.
So, what's your positive?
New music dropped today, man. New music out. I'm releasing a couple singles that I'm going to be doing, but it's always good to see when a new song comes out and I get to go through my playlist and everything, and then randomly it pops up and I'm like, all right, here it is, all streaming sites, and I'm just like, it's just fun because I'm having a lot of fun quietly creating, and then I'm just doing these releases where I'll be sprinkling it out there, and then it's fun to see it when it starts adding up into our show and doing other things. And so it's good to create. It's good to have that escape and do something else. So what about you? What's going on with you? How are you doing?
Well, we're supposed to be going to, so I have somebody that is part of our community that reached out. He's a comedian and he's coming to Tucson to do a show. So he reached out and invited us to the show. And so we got a couple tickets. We bought them and we're going to go see him on Friday. So it's our first date night in a while.
Oh man. I hope you get your ass roasted. All right. First and foremost. And you better,
I have a feeling he's already planning it. Yeah. But no, we always talk about our community and how we really appreciate everybody that supports us, downloads the show, shares our clips. We know not everybody can come make it Wednesday nights, but we know there are so many people that share our stuff and our clips. Yeah. So it's just nice to be able to give, back a little bit and go support somebody from our community and support them in what they do. And I'm sure it'll be a good time too. So so that's my positive. And it's summer. Today was the first day of summer for the kids, so no more bedtimes. Pool days,
and it feels like a Sandlot. That's what that is.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun this summer for sure. So
I'm looking forward to it.
But is that all you got, brother?
No, man. I just, we're just getting started. Summer's off. Music's coming out.
We're just getting started with this show. We're just getting started, man.
All of it. And this is a lot of fun. And guys, if this is your first time, like, subscribe, hit that notification button.
Yes.
We try to do this every Wednesday. We are working on a couple specials that are going to come out, and we're going to pre-record those, but we think it's information that needs to be really addressed. But we love to have you guys here. We love the community that we're building. You guys make this show. So really keep coming back, keep kicking us in the ass, keep letting us know good, bad, and ugly. And that Ryan is, prison pretty.
Prison pretty. Yep. And I'll leave you as I always do with much love. Keep fighting. Whatever you do, make sure you stay safe out there.